Oh, I think so, if you guys are ready.
Yeah. Good morning again. We'd like to call this meeting to order for the regular session of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors for April 20, 2026. Roll call, please.
Here.
Grant.
Here.
Kurttenbach.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Leyland.
Here. Would everyone please join us for a moment of silence to reflect on our actions. Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1 is the agenda received as proposed or as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 2, public comments. Is there anyone in the audience today that would like to speak on something that is not on today's agenda? Is there anyone online? Moving on to item 3 is our presentation regarding National Bike Month, Cedar Valley Economic Impacts and Participation by Catherine Gilberry from the Cedar Valley Bicycle Collective and Waterloo Complete Streets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Linda, I think you said I have an hour to talk, right?
I think I'll have
But yeah,
this
thank
down.
you. The gavel. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to come and present. So May is National Bike Month, but the idea to come and present to you started a while ago. About a year ago, the Iowa Bicycle Coalition undertook an economic study for the whole state of Iowa, and also presented some county results on what are the dollars and the numbers behind the cycling impact of the state. And then I heard the results of that. I took the survey, like there was a survey that went around, you say if you're a cyclist, how often do you bike? How often do you go to a restaurant when you ride a bike? How much do you spend? Those kinds of things. But then I heard the results this past fall. There's a statewide trails and bike summit, and it was held in Cedar Falls this past year. It had a lot of county conservation folks learning how to improve trails in their areas, and that's where I saw the results presented for the first time. And so I grew up where everybody in my family had a bike, but we were in the country, so it was mostly riding up and down the ditches and in our gravel driveway. And once a year, my bike got to see pavement. We weren't like a Disneyland family where we were making long trips. Every year, we just took our bikes one time a year to some bike trail and would bounce around. So it's been something that's been part of my life for a long time, but I didn't have my first like real bike, not a hand-me-down, until I moved to Cedar Falls after college. And the first day I was here, I met somebody on Craigslist with my parents and on a really cheap, dumpy bike. But I was just amazed at all the paved trails I could ride here. And so it became something I just did all summer long, was checking out different trails. A lot of those are county maintained. So thank you for making that such a great free public service that's available for everybody to use. But then I also, was here and I needed to develop friends and find something to provide meaning in my life. And so I started looking and found that there's a lot of really cool bicycle groups in this area. So yeah, the presentation, I kind of wanted to summarize the economic studies and then also share a bit about the different bike groups here so that you can get an idea of just how diverse and how many people are contributing to making our community a better place through biking. Can I do page down? Yeah. Ooh, I'll scroll. Wow, really fast. Okay.
Thanks for your presentation.
So it's over. these were kind of their 4 main points. Cycling is widespread. Iowa is one of the best states in the nation for our rail trails. We have a lot of trails that people can ride, and they're flat, they're accessible. They're good for kids, they're good for the elderly, they're good for everybody. The sectors that benefit the most from cycling are retail and restaurants. It does create jobs, and it has a large impact in high ridership counties, of which Black Hawk County is one of the highest ridership counties. The annual impact is $1.4 billion in the state. If you combine all the bicycle industries happening in the state, it would be a top 50 industry. It supports over 21,000 jobs, and it has a lot of health benefits and environmental impacts like reduced emissions. And I won't read everything on here because it'll take me too long, but I shared the slides so you can feel free to peruse them if you want to go back.
And you shared with us the email so I can make sure everybody gets a copy of that as well. So.
Yeah. I gotta remember which way to scroll. So the smallest county in Iowa still had $500,000 in impact, which was pretty surprising. And then Black Hawk County is $35 million in impact. And then they broke it down by different industries, so you can see it's retail and sports and restaurants are the biggest beneficiaries. You know, a lot of the group rides that happen here, they end at a restaurant or a brewery or a bar or something. We have 39,000 cyclists in our community and 16,000 who are considered like regular riders because they ride a couple times a month. And it's something you can do by yourself, but it's also something where you can find connection with other people. So I'll go into some of the bicycle groups here. And yeah, there's too much information here to go through just immediately, but I just kind of wanted to present how diverse cyclists are in our community. So I'm on the committee that helps plan the annual Bridges Ride. You can start anywhere on the Cedar Valley Nature Trail. We had folks from Cedar Rapids bike up last year. And then we host a big party at the Gilbertville Depot. We have about 300 riders every year participating in this ride. It's during my Waterloo Days this year, so June 6th. We have the Cedar Valley Association of Soft Trails, which is they maintain and host regular events to celebrate the soft trails we have here, which I didn't start riding until after I'd already been here for 6 years. I looked at maps and I was like, it doesn't really look like there's that much. I think I might rather stay on the paved trail. And then I started riding them with their Fearless Women of Dirt group on Mondays. And these trails are so fun. They're accessible, kids can ride them. It's not like going to, mountain bike rides in Decorah. They're mountains where you're going downhill at 1,000,000 miles an hour. These are just great accessible trails for folks to get familiar with starting to ride soft trails. They also can be used for skiing, for running, and there are group rides all year round utilizing these trails. There's two-wheel Wednesdays through the summer months, and then there's wide tire Wednesday for fat bikes in the whole off season. I'm also a board member of the Cedar Valley Bicycle Coalition. So of all the groups I'm going to present, we're one of the only ones that actually have staff. Everything else is completely volunteer. And so we have a part-time mechanic and a part-time shop assistant. We recycle and refurbish used bikes so that they can remain affordable within the community. We do bike checks at farmers markets. We're doing a bicycle maintenance check for students at UNI for Earth Week. We've gone up to Waverly to do bicycle checks where they don't have a bike shop. So out and about all the time for that group. We have the Cedar Valley Cyclists, which is probably one of the oldest ones. They charter a reg ride group that has over 150 riders. So these are the Lycra speedy, fast riders. But their Wednesday ride, they actually have 3 different speeds for their Wednesday rides, and one of them is exclusively trail. And then they have road rides that are longer and faster to help get ready for reg ride. The Cedar Valley Trails Partnership is a great group that helps to maintain our rail trail network. We have over 128 miles of paved trails in Black Hawk County, which is amazing. We're part of the Great American Rail Trail that goes all the way across the country. And it's funny, if you look at a map of the Great American Rail Trail, George Wythe is the most northernmost point on that trail. So you can see they intentionally took a longer route to come up into the Cedar Valley and ride through George Wythe and then go back down. So that's a point I think that we can be proud of. Cedar Valley Youth Cyclists, this is a volunteer group that just started last year. And they take youth and train with them starting in April, culminating in the completion of Ray Ride. And through that, it's just such an impact on them and realizing that they can do something really hard and accomplish that ride. Safe Routes to School, which is based at Intercog. They're hosting hundreds and hundreds of events, educating kids and adults in Black Hawk and surrounding counties. They serve 6 counties with bicycle and walking and pedestrian education. I'm gonna get the scrolling right at the end. And these are just some other ones. There's the Hammer and the Mallet, which is like a hardcore gravel ride. One of the, I can't remember which one, either the Hammer or the Mallet is more extreme. They both sound pretty extreme. I haven't done them. But Pint Night, I think the economic impact of Pint Night has got to be tens of thousands of dollars every year. And that's just a ride from Bike Tech in Cedar Falls to the single speed in Waterloo. It's once a month, and the tap room is packed every single time. They always have a philanthropic beneficiary. There's Spokeswoman, which is a women's cycling group. We Ride, which is We Arose and Waterloo Bike Tech. And they're a great beginner-friendly ride. My Waterloo Days Kids Bike Races. And these are just the ones that I'm aware of. So you can just kind of see it's for all kinds of people, all different ages. So these are the key Bike Month dates. The only one I know of where there's like a formal ride scheduled is the Ride of Silence on May 20th. Cedar Valley Cyclists does that, and it's in honor of people who have died while cycling. But you can also use one of these days to feel inspired to get your bike out of the garage, or maybe try biking to work or bike to school. So just 2 more slides. Some important trends to be aware of in cycling right now. On the unfortunate side, we are at like a public health crisis level of pedestrian and cyclist fatalities. After like decades of decline in the last 10, it's shooting back up. A lot of that has to do with more distracted driving. There's a term that's like the truckification of our automobiles, which is that they have gotten so tall and so big, the grills, where if you were hit with a sedan on a bike, you would break a leg, and today if you get hit with a vehicle, you're gonna die above 30 miles an hour. And then youth ridership has also been on a decline, and I think a lot of that is the awareness of it's not safe everywhere to just be on your neighborhood street and you're riding your bike around with your friends, because of distracted driving. We're seeing a lot more e-bike sales. They're the majority at this point, and a much higher proportion of those folks are using their bikes for like daily commuting, like shopping, going to work, going to school. So that's pretty cool. And then higher end specialty bikes are popular as well. So the things to kind of take away from those trends, and how to support cyclists. This is my bike. I was asking, what do I ride? This is my more expensive bike. I got rid of my like really cheap bike a couple years ago. And we'll never go back. But so first is build and improve access to great places for biking, both for recreation, trails, but also for commuting. That's sharrows on roads and separated bike lanes, those kinds of things. And with trails and cycling, it really is like if you build it, they will come. These are resources in our community that are highly utilized. We're also a state that's near the bottom in public land. So cycling and trails are probably like the largest way to get out and access public land, like in our state. Shop local, support our local bike industry. That's particularly important if you're gonna be like buying an e-bike, because there's just like so many different kinds online that local bike shops sometimes can't service e-bikes from online. So check out, support our bike industries, support education for cyclists and drivers. There's some really cool new education that's coming out of the state of Minnesota. They just passed 2 years ago that bicycle education is now part of the K-12 curriculum. Every student has to learn how to ride a bike, which is great because if you think of it, we don't have driver's ed for bikes like in our community. And it can be confusing. It's like, do I ride on the street? Do I ride on the sidewalk? Can I roll through stop signs? So Safe Routes to School is the entity doing that in our state, but we can definitely use more. And then prioritizing safety for our most vulnerable riders. Our young, our old, everybody in between. We're a community that, loves driving culture, but believe it or not, there are people in our community who cannot drive, whether it's a physical limitation, legally they've had their license taken away, or just a preference. And so thinking about how can our street design and everything accommodate those most vulnerable populations. So that's everything I have. And thank you again for letting me be here.
Any questions? Thank you, Catherine. I would say thanks for the presentation. I guess I didn't realize how many different groups there were, even though you said those are the ones you're aware of.
Do you know if the economic impact report is it available online?
Yeah, so I sent that in an email too. There's 2 of them. There's a statewide one, and then there's Blackhawk and surrounding counties. Is included in that as well.
She sent that this morning for a presentation. I just haven't
Got it.
circulated, so I'm sure to get everybody gets.
Yeah, I still have access to that.
Catherine, you'd mentioned being able to purchase bicycles from some of the local places. You said Bike Tech in Cedar Falls, and what else is there? So that
Yeah.
way I don't have to go to Walmart
Shields.
ever again.
In Cedar Falls, Hall, which is in Cedar Falls. Waterloo Bike Tech unfortunately closed in this past year. And then Cedar Valley Bicycle Collective for used bikes.
Where's the,
That's across from the Waterloo Convention Center.
okay.
Shout out to the bike collective. Both my late husband Logan and I both purchased bikes from there. I think they were $60 at the time, so it was just a great deal for a bike that's in great working order.
Yeah, I've heard others say they've gotten bikes there too. That's great.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and we have them checked over by a licensed mechanic, so they're safe. Getting a bike worked on, my first experience doing that was kind of sticker shock because I bought my bike for $40 and then I took it in for a tune-up and it cost me $60. But yeah, everything at the Bicycle Collective is pre-serviced and it's ready to go. So Waverly also has an e-bike bike shop, and there's also a bike shop in New Hampton, which is great. A lot of our rural communities don't have bike shops anymore, so it can be hard both for buying a bike but also for getting it serviced. So we're lucky to have some of our rural communities still have their bike shops. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Item 4, claims and payments. This is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors approves expenditures and that the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue payments against the various settlement of such claims as allowed.
So, second.
Ms. Weidner.
Good morning, Board. On to real business. So our total bill payment today is $353,681.87. Out of that, the Sheriff 6040 fund is $3,648.54. One little bit larger payment that came out was conservation paid Freed Construction for residing a couple of the cabins there at $64,588.86. And that was approved in last year's capital improvements program. We also have payroll on here today. The total paid with all the withholdings and taxes is $1,638,603.99. Everything appears to be in order. Any questions for me today?
This is a resolution to present, your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Brant,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kurttenbach,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item 5, receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Hey, good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, engineer. I've got 2 items for you this morning. The first one is that today starts the beginning of National Work Zone Awareness Week, and this recognition began in 1997 to raise awareness of the need for more caution when driving through work zones, and that includes work zones on all roads, such as interstates, state highways, and county roads. Every year, roadway workers are killed in work zones, so I'd like to remind the public to slow down, pay full attention to the signs, pay full attention to your surroundings. Gabby did put together a nice video for us that she has posted on social media this week. And my other item, I would like to talk about the public hearing, provide a few more details, including my own point of view concerning the public hearing that the DOT held last week concerning the C57 Highway 63 intersection. So the DOT has ranked this intersection as number 9 out of 1,088 for its category, and that category would be roads over, I believe it's 65 miles per hour, divided highway roads over 65 miles per hour that intersect a county road or a secondary road at 55 miles per hour. So it has ranked very high now for the past few years. Last year, the DOT did hire HDR, a consulting firm out of Des Moines, I believe, to start studying the intersection. As you know, they did hold a public meeting last week. The consultant had about 10 different proposals, and they discarded most of the options for various reasons, and they came to the public meeting with all of these, but with 2 primary options in mind. And the first option is what's on the screen right now. That would be the reduced conflict intersection option, or the J-turn, as it's called. These are gaining quite a bit of popularity in Minnesota. The DOT told us they primarily allow Highway 63, which has about 8,500 cars a day. They primarily allow that roadway to make all the movements, right turns, left turns, through movements, but the side roads, highways, Cedar Wapsie or C57, they would be limited in the movements they can make. C57 would not be able to go through the intersection any longer, and they would not be able to make any left turn lanes. Right turns would still be allowed. And in order to make a through movement or a left turn, a driver would have to make a right turn and then go for a short distance on Highway 63 and then make a U-turn, and then come back and go to the right to make a through movement, or to continue south, for example, to make the left turn movement. This option would cost approximately $3.9 million is what the Iowa DOT is saying, and they could have this completed by the year 2028. The second option that they provided was a full interchange, and I think we're all very familiar with the full interchange. These have been around since the 1940s, since the beginning of the interstates. Most drivers know how to drive these. One of the disadvantages of this option, of course, is the amount of land needed. All 3 properties would most likely be total buyouts. And that cost would be, the DOT had projected that cost to be about $29 million. And it would take 10 years possibly. The DOT would not give us a date, but 10 years is not unrealistic considering the amount of studying and the amount of funding that has to be raised and programmed for that project. I did provide some details to you all in an email that I forwarded to you along with the Iowa DOT to state my position. So our position, the county's, my position in particular, is that we would like the DOT to study this intersection in more detail from a regional perspective. We just don't think this intersection should be looked at as a pinpoint. As you know, the county's been involved with the city of Waterloo, Raymond, Elk Run, and Evansdale for over 10 years on a northeast industrial bypass study. And that's to look at improving traffic from the southern portion of the county to the northeast bypass, to the northeast industrial area by way of a bypass. With that study, we also asked the consultant to look at improving the freight from the north on the 218 corridors, the Highway 63 corridor. We believe that a Cedar Wapsie North Elk Run Road bypass would be something to consider for the future of the county. About 20 years ago, when the first bond program was put together, improving North Elk Run Road from Dunkerton to Cedar Wapsie, and by improvement, I mean it's currently a gravel road, and it's 3 miles, so that would be paving that and making it wider, paving it, turning it into a more viable freight option. That's been kind of on our long-term list for at least 20 years now. We believe that this would be a nice freight corridor for that traffic coming off 218, using Cedar Wapsie Road, going all the way over 63, if that movement is allowed, going all the way to North Elk Run and then turning left, or turning right, going south to the northeast side. I did mention to you that in our 5-year plan, we would like to put a roundabout at Donald and Elk Run Road. This is another that has also come out of that study for the northeast corridor. So essentially, in summary, I've told the Iowa DOT we would like to see movements that are all movements be allowed at this intersection so that we would be able to facilitate some type of freight movement throughout better to the corridor in the future. Can I answer any questions, or are there any comments? Or
Okay,
Go ahead.
attending this, there was another option with the intersection. Kathy, if you go back to the diamond, there's a narrower one that impacts the property owners less. The DOT was very reluctant to look at this for a couple of reasons, cost being one. The other one is the timeline. They wanted something to happen sooner than later. But again, with the residents of Blackhawk County that I talked with that were at the hearing that night, this is the more viable option for them to get truck traffic, whether it's loads of grain or cattle, and then farm equipment across that to reduce conflict. It's kind of ridiculous coming across there. You have to take a right turn, do a U-turn across both lanes, and then come back and take another turn.
You're talking about the J turn.
The J turn. It's kind of ridiculous. This one, they had a narrower where it doesn't go as wide for the off-ramps. And this is where I felt was a conflict in what they were telling us. They say that they gotta have those off-ramps, like in this scenario, for slowing down speeds and speeding up. However, when you look at the J turn or the reduced conflict, then they're trying to merge traffic in them scenarios with a whole lot less than this. So I didn't get the buy-in that they were trying to sell one thing for one reason or another for the other thing. So I think there's more room for more discussion with this. And then I can tell you, we will hear from our residents in the rural area if they go forward with this or looking at doing the reduced conflict. I know we will be hearing from folks and how much they dislike the thought of that.
I assume they did some speaking maybe at the meeting, did they not? Or was there some?
the residents, you mean, to the Department of Transportation representatives? Yes, there was 89 folks that attended. And I felt that I was hearing lots of conversation
Okay.
between residents to the DOT.
And then there's a comment period and it's on DOT's website where you can submit your comments to them. They had some flyers as well. I got one blank one yet, make copies you can mail off, but they're asking for comments on their initial proposal as well.
And what was that, Kathy? Did you know what that was? The period when they were gonna be doing that?
I did, the transportation planner, didn't she say until May 1st?
Yeah, it's
Probably
the
like
30th
2
of May
weeks.
first, somewhere
Yes.
in there at the end of the month.
So they let you know that, I guess, so you.
That's
guess
on their
that's something I
website, and I think probably the DOT representatives were telling people that. I know it's on their website, so I think they've been trying to get the word out. That they'll take comments for 2 more weeks.
I was just thinking it'd be, and there's just a thought, I'm not even sure it's what we should be doing, but I was gonna say that would be that type of information and directing comments to it. The county itself would be supporting people contacting that or making that information aware on social media and that type of thing, just so that we get an opportunity, because I know we have to do that for workforce development and different plans and programs that they do, and very few people ever comment. But it's usually things that just kind of a process. But this is really regarding people's safety and transportation, and like you said, we've been talking for 20 years about that arterial connection and stuff out there. I can't imagine that we wouldn't weigh in, and is that something you weigh in as well? When you've said you've asked them, I guess, for the consideration to look at this from a regional approach and more time, did they sound receptive to that, or are they just waiting to hear what the comment period is, or? I mean, it's a big difference I get from 3 million or 3.9 to
Yes.
the 29.
Right.
So cost-wise, but safety and flow of traffic and all of that. So there's so much more, I guess, and in that area, that's a lot of transportation vehicles.
I said that I would follow up with that email, and that's why I included you on the email as well. So, yes, I wanted to make clear that we would, if they do the J-turn RCI, that eliminates our ability, probably, at least in the near term, or a 30-year horizon, to build something like this freight corridor.
Were there comments made by some of the folks, like I said, one's a 10-year plan, obviously, one's a 2-year or something like that they're looking at. Did they have concerns or thoughts of they'd rather wait to have the safer, better?
Many people I heard are willing to wait to have a full interchange rather than have this J-turn or the RCI next year or 2 years from now. They just didn't think that was a good trade-off. There was a lot of concerns, like Rich said, about freight movement, being able to make those U-turns, collisions with that turning traffic as it's turning by the mainline traffic. So the majority of concerns I heard were people they did not prefer the J-turn over the interchange.
The safety of it just seems like such an issue to do U-turns and to go the other direction.
Kathy, I just want to thank you for trying to get them to think more regionally about this issue, about this intersection, rather than just the intersection itself. And I've heard these J-turns referred to as Michigan U-turns as well, because they're all over the state of Michigan, and they're a hot mess. Like I've witnessed a number of close calls just personally on them, with people not knowing exactly what to do, or rushing over 2 lanes to do a U-turn and then rush over 2 more lanes to turn back on the road they're on. So I just remember I had the sense like this felt like backwards infrastructure, and I was thankful that we didn't have those all over Iowa.
Chris, there's one in Iowa right now on Highway 20 over by Fort Dodge. And I remember I didn't realize that's what it was until they were doing this presentation, and I don't have any interest in going back to that place where I was turning around and have to go back to, and it was a truck stop there on 20. It's simply because of it caused more conflict. If you've never been in one before, it caused more conflict. Why am I have to do a U-turn to get to that intersection? But,
Confusion probably maybe.
yeah, it is.
Like,
It's-
where am I, what am I doing?
first time you get into it, it's very confusing. Kathy, would it help at all if we had a statement on behalf of the county as well, the board, in this process?
I would think so.
So we could comment individually or collectively, but I was gonna say, does it help with the state at all to take board action at some point?
I would think so. I
can.
can check with the Iowa DOT if they would like something, like a formal resolution passed by you.
Since it is an important intersection for us.
If you can help us with that, I'd like to see if we can bring something to the board next week.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know, like I
Position
said, I
statement
didn't know
on
if you want more information, like I said, then she's provided, today she's just kind of doing an update for what the meeting was just held, and I'm trying to do that, but if there's something you want more to do it, I don't mean to throw that on you, but I was gonna say that.
Let me check with the Iowa DOT and I'll get back to you later in the week about,
Okay, at least in the next week or
in
two.
time to get something on for next week.
Yeah, well, if we've got time during that comment period of them reconsidering too, is great, but but otherwise we don't wanna miss a timeline. Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Gabby DeWitt, Marketing Coordinator. I just wanted to formally tell you about the Department of Justice extending the accessibility deadline. We were originally going to hit, because of the size of our community, we were going to have our digital communications accessible by Thursday, April 24th, 2026. It's now been extended a year, so our new deadline is April 26th, 2027. Lots of hours from January to now that would be nice to have back, but it's great because we're actually in a really good position. Because our vendor has actually complimented us on the position we were in had we gone live with the deadline this week. We have 64 staff members that have been identified for accessibility education, and in the past month we've held training sessions on accessibility rules for documents, websites, social media, and procurement, like vendor procurement. And we have begun the process of cleaning up the website content based on prioritization. So we'll just continue with this, and it actually gives us a time to take a breath and slow down, be maybe a little bit more intentional. We've been drinking from the fire hose literally with these trainings, and I think a lot of the people who've been identified as being content creators probably feel that way. So now we can kind of step back, find out what they retain from the trainings and what we need to do a little bit more education on. We're in the process of creating workflow documents and cheat sheets and stuff to help people so that we'll be in a very good position come next April. So going forward, we're going to continue to audit and update our 5 websites based on how frequent pages are viewed. So we'll just take them kind of based on the number of views that the pages receive. We're going to start renewing our conversations about website RFP and see if even having a different platform host can help us be more accessible, because our current host has not been very open to suggestions that we've made about making our website more accessible. And then we'll continue to provide education opportunities for staff and continue conversations with departments on accessibility. And then going forward, ensuring our policies and plans reflect the accessibility guidelines. So, can I answer any questions? Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Nate Neff, Blackett County Sheriff. Just a couple quick things, and then I'm going to throw into, I'm 100% on board with Kathy on this, so Kathy, anything I can do to help you, let me know. I will gladly back you on that. The other thing, over the last year, I've mentioned a couple times that we've had a couple of our deputies overseas called to active duty. One got back a few weeks ago. He's actually coming back to work here in another week or so. And the other was kind of off the grid for a while, so we were a little concerned about where he was or what he was involved in. But last week I got a chance to talk to him. He's out of harm's way, he's safe now, and he thought he should be coming home soon. So we're excited to get them back safely and get them back to work eventually then too. And then the other thing I just wanted to throw a shout out, last Tuesday I got the chance to go to Hartman Reserve with my son's 3rd grade class. Staff was all amazing. I had, 50-ish 3rd graders out there. Kept everyone entertained and educated all day, super friendly, super accommodating, so great job to your staff on that. Just
You were entertained too as well?
I was
That's
entertained as
all
well,
right.
learned a couple things, yes. I didn't get yelled at for wandering off the trail.
Great, thank you, Dave. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone online? I'm not hearing anyone. I had, because we didn't have time to put an item on the agenda, last week there were some comments made about our meetings not being live broadcast and not being accessible to the public, and I wasn't sure, like, how we should handle that. But then I saw a letter to the editor, even in the Courier, really reflecting the same thing. So I wondered if this wouldn't be a good time just to ask Al, since we couldn't add it to an agenda item during these updates, if he could present some information, I guess, for the board, which he provided an email, but also an update for the public, I guess, talking a little bit about our meetings and what we do to make sure people are the information's accessible, so thank you.
Al, you IT director? Yeah, we currently offer a live access for our meetings. So we're being transparent, we're communicating. I mean, anyone can open the link and join our meeting. There are no restrictions. And, when they bring up the idea of YouTube Live, while I agree that it's easier to access YouTube Live, it doesn't provide two-way communication. For us to go that route, we would have to make some big changes. It's not something as simple as they say in that letter to implement. We would actually have to have more people to kind of monitor it. We would have to incorporate new equipment to get to work. Ideally, it's kind of you either pick going with Teams or you pick going with YouTube Live. The problem with YouTube Live is there's no two-way communication. If we were to do that method, all our department heads online, all they can do is type in a chat. They cannot verbally talk to you. They can only watch a meeting. So while it's super easy to click on it, I mean, you can just click on the link. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you would get notifications that the meeting was live. Teams essentially does the same thing. I would say, like the links maybe could be published more. We could have it on our website clearly, just always posted. The link doesn't change. It's the same link every Tuesday forever. And so if anyone can bookmark that, they would have easy access to that. So
Could we do a vanity link? That way it's a little bit more easy to communicate versus
sure.
whatever that, but if it's Blackhawk County Supervisors, whatever that looks like, but could create a domain that's a lot easier to tell folks, oh, watch it here.
We can kind of do like a URL redirect. Otherwise, it is just kind of a Teams link. Yeah, but we certainly could do that.
So what is that? I guess I'm, just because I don't know at all. I know we have the link, and I said, and I do think, like I said, it means people have to go onto the agenda for the link and that type of thing. So making it more accessible, like Al mentioned, making sure we get it out there, but I'm not sure I understand what that does.
Basically, it would just redirect when you type in blackhawkcountysupervisors.com, whatever it is. You could just type that in versus having to find the link somewhere or obviously trying to listen to what the link is. The auto-generated link is funky, it's weird, it's a bunch of characters and letters. But it's just an easier way for us to be able to communicate. Go to this website, type it in, and it takes it to the Teams link, or to the Teams. But it's just easier to type it into your browser as opposed to having to go onto our site, click it here, and access it from multiple places.
Yeah, we could like purchase a domain, let's just say bhcmeetings.com or something.
Yep.
And then that'll be posted right on our main website, and they can either click on it or you can just easily remember that URL, and then all it does is redirects to the Teams link. Yep. My recommendation is we pick one or the other, but just know the caveat with going YouTube Live is there's no two-way interaction. It is basically a broadcast and that's it. If you could have someone monitor the chat, but that's one person you have to dedicate, and then that person also has to communicate back to the other folks. And department heads or elected officials won't have the opportunity to speak in person if they want to interact in the meeting. So that's the only drawback of using it. But I will say it is easier to access. But we could change that also by a few strategic moves with like URL and things like that, so make it a little more visible.
Yeah, when I met Val, that's why I said someone asked, I was trying to understand what the good, better, best is, I guess, or what are the options and why people would want YouTube as preferred to ours. And I didn't know that, I guess that's shame on me, but I didn't know that there was no two-way communication allowed on the YouTube. If I actually just did there, and I said, I didn't see how we would probably like that, because we have so many people, like I said, our public comments can even speak. If they're here, they can Zoom.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be able to do that on YouTube Live.
No, there'd be no public, but like I said, we have our auditors, we've had different, vendors, we've had public people, we have our staff that we communicate with, and I'd hate to lose that aspect of it. But for me, then it was like the typing, the comments could come through and you'd, I guess, we don't see many times the screen anyway, because we've got other things on there, but I said then you'd have to have somebody watch that or monitor that and telling us what those comments are, and then I think if I'm correct, you told me then I'd have to either have somebody type back my response or I'd have to type a response.
I mean, if you had the session open, you could type it yourself, but I mean, you got an entire agenda to worry about, so I would designate someone else to do that role, but it's inefficient, but it's doable, I guess.
Well, and I think it was mentioned though that some of the cities have both, or I'm not sure.
I know City of Waterloo and Waterloo Schools broadcast over YouTube Live, but if you want interaction, if you want public comments, you have to be there in person.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. That was my question. It was like, how did they do the interacting piece? Is somebody doing the question?
There may be someone monitoring and replying back in the live chat. That's possible, or they could just turn off live chat too. I don't know. That's if they don't.
So the comments can come through, but they don't use it. You have to be in the belt. You have to be in the room.
Yep. If you want to be heard, you got to be in the room at the podium.
I just thought ours seemed beneficial to me because we're interacting with anybody that's on there. To me, public comments or otherwise, but that was just all. And I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. It was helpful for me.
In my opinion, I don't think we have a transparency issue. It's clear that we are offering a method for folks to interact with us, and I think it'd be a shame to get rid of the two-way interaction, but it's entirely up to the board if they want to choose one or the other. I do not recommend both at the same time. That creates some technical concerns for us, points of failure, cost, more manpower to monitor it. So just keep those under consideration. Bandwidth, we're doubling our bandwidth use because now we're streaming in two at the same time. So, and then we'd have to buy equipment to help kind of keep that traffic flow even for both ways too. So that's something.
We all knew my level of IT, so I had to go talk about it. So just the simple things I'm sure that most did, but it was like, okay.
Al, is the go on YouTube, is that automatically recorded then? Or is that something else you gotta do yet to record off of YouTube?
That would be the other benefit. So we archive to YouTube, but it takes us a bit because depending on if we have a really long meeting, sometimes that process doesn't happen until overnight and we get to it tomorrow and then we get it posted. So if you have a YouTube Live meeting, as soon as the meeting's over, it's however long it takes YouTube to encode that video, and then it's in the archive pretty quickly, within an hour, I would say, or less. So that is the two benefits of going on YouTube is easier access, archiving is much quicker. But also take into account there's a potential accessibility thing too. So yeah, captioning and things like that. So ADA is another component to consider.
So will some of that be changing? I know you're all in a committee and working on that accessibility thing. Is that something that I guess you'll be discussing, or you have discussed, or?
We'll discuss the ADA concerns. That's no reason why I don't recommend both, because now we have to deal with two platforms for accessibility concerns. Yeah, and you said 98% accuracy on captioning, so which is difficult when a lot of people are talking at the same time. So.
You know, I was just thinking of the 16 months that I've been here, I can only think of one time, one meeting where one person from the public said anything on Teams, and it was Tom, on reference to budget stuff. I don't remember if this was that last year or this year, but I don't know how the department heads or employees are communicating back and forth through Teams, but like my preference would be to see YouTube. Unless what Tavis was saying would be that easy. Because imagine Facebook is probably the primary social media platform for a lot of folks from my generation or older who might have an interest in paying attention to this stuff. And I'm on our county page. I don't see where I could even find the link for Teams. So I mean, it's a lot of running around, probably unnecessarily, to try to just be a viewer, just to know what's going on.
So maybe we can look into that, I mean, at least whatever that option is, or how that, if that's the easiest or best or whatever.
Yeah, I
make
mean,
it more accessible.
We can start with making the link more visible right away, and then potentially look at possibly doing a URL direct, so it's a cleaner domain name that people are familiar with. Then you can actually have QR codes and other ways to promote that as well.
Well, it might be at least something to try, like I said, and see, you'll see if you pick up some, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, my concern is I just don't want to lose the two-way communication
Yeah.
with YouTube Live, so.
Oh, you mean for
that's-
the one or other, no?
Yeah, if we decide to go that route, then our department heads can't interact with us when they're offsite. They have to be here in order to present, or someone is presenting on their behalf. Because it's not like they can call into a meeting, they just see the meeting and they can type into a chat, and that's it.
So everyone online today would just be able to watch us.
They'll be able to watch, they can't speak, they can just type in the chat. So it's more, it meant more as a broadcast, not a two-way communication. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Any other questions?
No, I didn't say any other updates.
I have no other ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks. Item 6, minutes approved for the special session April 13 and the regular session April 14, 2026.
So moved, second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, minutes are approved. Item 7, consent agenda. Following items are acted upon by a single resolution unless someone wishes to pull something to be discussed.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution, please answer your name is called.
Kurttenbach,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Brant,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item number 8, contracts and agreements. This is a resolution, the agreement between Blackhawk County and First District Department of Corrections, DCS, for the purpose of providing supervision on alternate inmate housing for prisoners who would otherwise be placed in Blackhawk County Jail, and to provide intensive pretrial supervision in the amount of $260,000, which is a 0% increase, between July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2027, be approved and direct the chair to sign the same.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. I was gonna say, to speak. I know the 0% increase that was not something probably that was gonna cause any grief. It was just really kind of interfacing with you and updating you on changes or things going on, I guess, at the First Judicial District. And so if you'd like to provide an update or able to, that'd be great.
Robert Ames with the First District Department of Corrections. I'm the Division Manager over Residential Services. Tyler Granberg is Executive Officer. Thank you for having us. I'll keep it brief. I don't really have a lot of updates. We appreciate partnering with Blackhawk County on this. We spoke to the board last year, as you know. Some of you were here then. This agreement's been in place for decades now. I've been with the department for about 28 years, and we've had intensive pretrial since day one that I can remember. So it is a cost savings to the county over the long run, and we appreciate that. We're able to offer a work release program basically for individuals that are ordered to serve jail sentences at the county jail. The judges will allow them to do that time in our residential correctional facility, which allows them to remain in the community, continue to work, be productive citizens in their community, and not have them locked up in jail. The other piece of this is our intensive pretrial pay. Part of this agreement is to cover that position. The figures, if you look, I believe you got a handout, kind of has a summary of some of this breakdown. I just want to highlight that the intensive pretrial alone is a significant savings to the county over the long run. The numbers on here show averaging 35 offenders or clients supervised by this position. I can assure you that he generally supervises more than 35 people. So what it shows as a possible $894,000 cost could be higher. And our cost per day is cheaper than what it would cost, $70 per day in the Blackhawk County Jail. I will let the sheriff speak, but my understanding is it's well over $100 a day just to house somebody for one day in the jail these days. So that's all I have. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I just want to speak on behalf of
Please.
Bob and
No, I was glad
the
to
DOC
see you.
here. I think you've got about 60 people in the program now between the facility on pretrial stuff. As you know, we're almost always completely full. There's a good chance if I had to house all 60 of those people outside of the county, in a year, that would be about $1.1 million. So even if I was able to keep half of those, you're still talking $500,000, and our contract here is $260,000. So when he says it's a savings to the county, he's not blowing smoke. It's a legitimate savings. We're probably getting $4 to everyone saved on that. Plus, like Bob pointed out, they're getting to work. They're getting to hopefully maintain some ties in the community, and hopefully not come back in, or at least set themselves up for some success going forward. So it's been a great partnership. They work great with us, especially if we've had pregnant females who are just about to their due date, whatever. I can call over and be like, can you bump her up on the list, or kind of do some of those things. And it's hard to put a figure on those numbers, but instead of me sitting on the hospital with somebody for days, if not weeks, if we can get them over there. So that partnership's been great for us too. So.
Yeah, I know in the contract, the wording spoke of high-risk offenders. What would preclude somebody from being eligible for work release, as far as charges?
Well, the direct commitment days are something kind of different. This would be something that's done in a sentencing, and a judge will allow them to do their time. Maybe the attorney would make a pitch for them to be able to do their jail days in our facility as opposed to jail, because they might be working or employed. The intensive pretrial is a little different. So these are folks who have just been arrested. We have a regular pretrial program that we'll go over and we'll interview folks to see if they'll qualify for our regular pretrial. Folks that don't qualify generally would be a little more higher risk individuals based on stability factors, risk factors, charge stuff, history. So they wouldn't qualify for a regular pretrial. This program allows our intensive pretrial officer to then go back over to that jail, re-interview them, see if they'll qualify under that program. Those individuals are supervised at a higher level. And quite honestly, those individuals would remain in jail if we didn't take them out on intensive pretrial. So
a lot of those are when Sarah Geiger is able to utilize that service quite a bit, and she gets a lot of those people out that whether it's mental issues, more medical issues, just ones that are a lot harder for us to supervise. She's able to get those people out too, and plus it lets them get better help that they need from a medical or mental standpoint as well.
All right, thank you, Bob.
yeah. One more thing, then I'll be done. This 260 is obviously just the maximum amount of the contract. We haven't used quite 260 if you look back on some of that handout. I think the highest one in the last 6 years was $225,000. So we encourage our folks that are doing their jail stays, if they're working, they're paying their fair share as well. So then that money's credited back on everybody that continues to work. So we credit the county back at the end of each month, part of the billing. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks,
We
Bob.
appreciate you too. All right, this is a resolution. If there are no more questions, please answer as your name is called.
Appreciate it.
Grant,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Kurttenbach,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item B, resolution to approve the easement agreement between Blackhawk County and J. Rieger Farms LLC for tree removals, tree trimming, driveway removals, and a new driveway installation at the southwest corner of the intersection of Cedar Wapsie and Wagner Road, as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So moved. Second.
Good morning again, Board. So at this intersection, we've had several fatalities in the last few years. We're looking at low-cost ways to improve the sight distance, the to improve the safety at the intersection. The southwest corner of that intersection, if you're familiar with it, is treed, and there's a hill to the west of the intersection. So we would like to take out a driveway that will we believe that will substantially improve the sight distance to the west, the hill portion that's obscured by the hill. And then some of the trees, we would like to remove those. We have a willing landowner, and we have been working with Mr. Trinan, our attorney, to get a permanent easement. So if this individual would ever sell the property, that would be a permanent easement, and we will be maintaining those 17 feet, an extra 17 feet by removing trees. It should be pretty low maintenance once we get this initial tree cutting done. If we think this will improve the safety of the neighbors. So I recommend approval.
Kathy, how many fatalities in the last, 10 years or so?
The last 10 years, we've had 2.
Any other questions? This is a resolution, please answer your name as called.
Kurtenbach,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item 9, other business. A motion to approve the monthly COBRA health insurance rates and coverage effective July 1, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second. Yeah.
Any questions for Tim? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Legislative update. Rich?
Just so you know, the Senate passed their property tax bill here last week. And the LSA, Legislative Service Agency, put out a fiscal note on it. This was a snapshot from when that was done. That bill came out. However, the House now, I understood this morning, the House and the Governor got other things are gonna change on it. So it's a snapshot. We'll see what happens next. I have heard that they're planning on some discussion this week and probably be next week before we have anything for further definitive answers on the property tax bill. UCC, I was only able to attend part of that meeting, but we did come out. The bill that wants to do away with the township process has been changed again. It's still alive. And we did now, both UCC and ISAC are opposed to the legislation as it keeps moving forward.
Any reports or information from the board?
You brought up the YouTube live thing, so I was gonna mention,
Oh,
so.
please. Oh.
No, you were
Oh,
hit
okay.
so earlier, so
Well, you might have additional comment, or?
No,
Just say, okay.
that's all I was gonna speak to.
Thank you.
Continuing my township visits, got a couple this week and then several next Monday. And then Saturday, I was able to spend some time out at Washburn and did a walkthrough with the drainage ditch all the way through. I know we're probably gonna be doing some more investigating with that and discussion here in a few months, so.
Something on the board agenda, you mean,
Yeah, so we're good with that.
or anything else? I got my motions, didn't I? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I thought so.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.